Welcome to the first episode of my Semi-Alphabetical Backlog, currently sticking to my PlayStation 2 library with over 200 and something games. This series is going to be an excuse for me to go through my backlog and start cutting down my game library where needed. This is not going to be like one of my standard reviews for the channel. It's going to be a little looser with its structure. Also, I might not cover every game, as I might already have the remakes or remasters on other consoles. I will probably skip games I've already finished, but that's not a strict rule. But yeah, let's begin. Years ago, I bought 50 Cent Bulletproof, confusing it with its more popular sequel, 50 Cent Blood on the Sand. This year is the first time I've played it, having already played 50 Cent Blood on the Sand a few years ago. I was prepared to be disappointed after having such a good time with its sequel. When I started taking notes in the first level, I was surprised to see so many positives racking up. Grabbable and movable cover, a variety of weapons, cinematic counter kills, a group of AI partners that actually seemed useful, auto-saving in between sections of a level, and a cold to hot aiming reticle for more precise shots. But then the negatives started to pile up. In terms of presentation, the first thing that is quite noticeable are the muddy visuals. Like, yeah, I get this game is a few generations back, but dear God, things are ugly. There are plenty of games on the PS2 around this time that look much better. Then audio-wise, a thing that is annoying is not having the option for subtitles to have an easier time figuring out what 50 Cent and others are mumbling about.
Make me your friend, I got your back for life. Make me your enemy, and the world ain't big enough for you to hide in.
Story-wise, it's pretty boring with characters that do not get much depth other than, hey, this corrupt cop is Eminem, this pawn store guy is a quirky tech guy in a wheelchair, this guy who lives in an abandoned theater loves to say movie quotes, and so on. Even the NPC teammates of G-Unit are just limited down to what skills they have without much say of who they are to 50 Cent. Basically, I was already getting tired with the game within the first few levels, already checking howlongtobeat.com and groaning at the 6-hour slog. Now, do I know how much time I put in? No. Why would that be? It might have to go along with a phrase that kept gumming up in my mind while playing. Where do I go? What do I do? A lot of the levels are samey looking and sometimes maze-like, or they have an unclear objective. Like on the second level, they asked me to find 4 safes in a mansion before leaving the level, and the last one was eluding me for I have no idea how long. I knew based on a guide that it was behind records in a theater room, but I did not know where to find the switch. I looked at the same rooms multiple times before looking at a book, on a bookshelf, in a room, on the other side of the living room, in a room separate from the theater room. My roommates heard me curse through the walls trying to figure that one out. Or later in the game, there's a morgue and there's a part where you have to protect a guy named Matt who works at the morgue. At this point, the morgue is being attacked by a gang, and your objective is to burn the corpse in the incinerator and make sure Matt doesn't die. Now, what proceeded to happen was me grabbing the corpse and using it as a shield as I fought endless groups of gang members while checking almost every single door for the basement. After having Matt die on me multiple times, I checked a walkthrough video and saw where the basement door was. It was in the same room where you get the dead body. The door is locked, and the reason why you need to keep Matt alive is so that he can lockpick the door for the building he works at. And here's the thing, if you kill the first few gang members and rush to the body locker room, you do not need to worry about protecting Matt, as after lockpicking the door, there are no enemies. I have no idea how much time I wasted going around looking for an unmarked door, thinking I had to keep fighting waves of gang members while finding it. But no. All I had to do was run to the body locker room, tell Matt to open the door, and then go downstairs without much hassle. Those are just 2 examples of the game wasting time. Now, where do you think 50 Cent would go to escape after burning a corpse at the morgue? A, the front door, B, the back door, C, out a window, or D, into the sewer? If you picked the sewer, you've got an idea of how this game likes to add time to pad its levels. Why the hell do we need to add a sewer level? And why the hell does this level require 4 pipes to be blown up so that a door can open itself? Yeah, patience was thin with its ham-fisted attempts to be video gamey. I was also annoyed by the bad camera I had to immediately fool with in the options. Even changing them, they never entirely felt right, especially when in close quarters and tight halls. With that, the movement didn't quite feel right either. While playing this, several aspects of the game reminded me of a game that came out a year previous and did them better. The Punisher came out in 2004, and many aspects that felt off in Bulletproof felt much better in Punisher. For one, the camera and movement felt more solid and controllable from the start. It did have some issues with tight areas, but the camera didn't feel so floaty. A thing that felt off in Bulletproof was that there was an interrogation system that seemed tacked on, like the developers had seen Punisher and said they want that in their game too. While in Punisher, it was a way to get health and information, all it seemed to do in Bulletproof was have the enemies talk about non-important info with no real incentive to interrogate anyone. But basically, every time you grabbed an enemy in Bulletproof, they gave some of the same options as in Punisher. Use them as a bullet shield, kill them, throw them, or interrogate them. One thing I wish it took from Punisher was its cleaner menu system in between levels instead of a hub world to get stuff done. So instead of going down a menu and quickly buying stuff with points, or getting info, or looking at your weapons, Bulletproof has a small hub world where you have to walk to each building or person to get stuff done, adding time to something that could have been more streamlined. Basically, this game loves to waste time. I got tired of it quickly and took advantage of its cheat system pretty early on. As you might have noticed for a bit of the footage, I have infinite health, and then when I got to the morgue near the end of the game, I decided to add infinite ammo. Using a poor cover system and shooting at bullet sponge enemies on normal difficulty got old, and I just decided it was easier to stand and shoot them till they eventually died than dealing with stupid dodging, ducking, or popping out from a wall. The only cover system I liked was the movable cover I mentioned earlier. I used it even when I didn't have to, so I would have more of a semi-authentic experience, even if I couldn't die. The other reason for not using cover was because the context-sensitive button didn't always show up or work. So I limited that frustration to when I had to line 50 Cent up just right to an elevator button or call a teammate to do something. Speaking of which, I said near the beginning I liked having a group of AI teammates that seemed useful. Well, that group is cut down to none at the end of the first level boss fight. Then on some levels you might get one specific type of teammate, and then at the end of the game you'll get your bigger group for a little bit again. I loved having the bigger group in the first level as they held off a bit of the enemy so I didn't have to deal with all of them, or I didn't have to personally put most of my bullets into them. The issue that usually pops up is when you need a door unlocked or something blown up or whatnot, that character-specific teammate will have to be called to where they are needed, and sometimes they get distracted. In some instances, I've rushed ahead and got to a roadblock a teammate might need to deal with. But they might be stuck on the environment or they are dealing with enemies in between you and your teammate, making it so that you will have to wait till they are done or go back to kill enemies, which on some levels may take over 30 seconds to a minute for them to stop moving erratically and just go to the thing I told them to do. Like a get out of self-preservation, they would focus on the enemy to not die, but in this game, thank God, your teammates are invincible. 50 Cent is not, however, and that is one reason I went and used the Invincibility Cheat. Your health can be refilled in levels using painkillers, just like in the game Max Payne, but instead of finding pills on every level, 50 Cent will mostly have to buy them in between levels at the hub world, which costs money that you'll have to find in the levels or steal from enemies, which gets annoying. There are a few levels with pills lying around, but for the most part, it comes down to finding body armor and not getting shot. So I recommend, if you have to play this game, play on either very easy, or just use cheats. If the enemies are going to be bullet sponges, 50 Cent might as well be as well. One thing I did like after beating the game was playing the arcade mode for a few minutes. Basically, it's like Resident Evil 4's Mercenary mode, where you get to choose different characters with different weapon loadouts on small sections of levels and just kill waves of enemies for points. It was a fun distraction with a few unlockable jokey characters, but nowhere close to the time sink like Resident Evil 4's mode. But for the most part, my overall feelings toward 50 Cent Bulletproof is that I am sorry my past self bought this game. It is such a waste. There are moments of good ideas, but then it comes to mostly a slog, and it trying to stretch the game's length. If anything can be taken away, it is that 50 Cent Blood on the Sand has a more entertaining story and is more worth the time invested. It isn't the best game, and it does have some issues, but at least I have better memories of that game, as it leaned into a more over-the-top, almost arcadey third-person shooter. So yeah, 50 Cent Bulletproof is coming off the shelf and will be dealt with eventually. Thanks for watching. Any comments, likes, or dislikes on this video or any of my other videos would be appreciated. By clicking these annotations, you can check out some of my other reviews. Also, if you want to get in contact with me, message me on YouTube or Twitter.